Good afternoon. It's the 23rd of May, Saturday, 2020. Um, After 12 weeks, oh, just gone midday. After 12 weeks of complaining to the council about various things and not getting any response whatsoever from the council, I've got half a bathroom full of rotting cat waste, otherwise known as domestic rubbish, because I've got 3 cats. As regular viewers will know, that you would have received most of them. I have turned my mobile off now, so it's no more than an internet device now, because I don't see the point of trying to get help. And I'm not one to I don't want people to help me. If I'm able to do things myself, I want to try and do them myself. I don't want food deliveries. I don't want people to clear my rubbish. I want to be able to do it myself, and this is what the council are getting. I sent one last email to Martin Eason and Karen and Ian and I think Rebecca from the mental health team. Final email, I think it was full of sarcasm, at least I hope it was. It started off, it was just abstract. So long and thanks for all the fish was something I used to put down on retirement cards and people leaving cards at works where I used to work, because I could never think of what to write. And so long and thanks for all the fish from Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy seemed to sum it up totally. And on that email I sent a photograph of the rubbish piling up in the bathroom. It smells like someone's running a hairdresser's in there. Ammonia all over the place. I've just mopped the floors and I'll get the steamer out later today and steam the floors, because I'm afraid the cats might be picking up diseases off the floor, and if they pick it up, I'll pick it up. But they're the important ones around here. They can't clean the floors themselves, they just walk where they walk, so I have to try and keep it clean for their sake. I've thanked Duncan and his team and Karen. I won't bother Karen anymore, she's not my counsellor. It's about time my counsellors explain themselves. Why are they not contacting me? Why have they said on several occasions to Karen they are going to call me and they don't? Why does no one seem to take into account the Equalities Act 2010 when it comes to disabled rights? They seem to apply it if you're gay or you have a physical impairment or some sort of thing, preserved right or something that the Equality Act considers. But when it comes to mental disability, they think you're putting it on. Well, here we go then, boys. No telephone. All I've got is contact via WhatsApp and email. Pretty soon I'll try and work out how to stop the email, because there's no point. This ain't going to go out till August as well, so I don't know if I'll be alive or ill by then, because nothing's going to happen. I have no confidence in anyone doing anything. I've got plenty of people volunteering to come and help me. I don't want help. This is what people are not getting. I do not want help. I want the council to do what they are paid to do, not to blatantly ignore people. Whether they've got disabilities or not, they are not supposed to ignore anyone. Unless someone can show me in the code of conduct where it says, oh yes, we can ignore you, Mr. Gibbons, it says it here. I'd like to explain themselves. Michelle Maloney, Martin Eason, my councillors, Tony Bell, Ros Dore, who replied to my email, 11 weeks ago, or 10 weeks ago I think it was now, without even reading it, so I told her to piss off. I consider that blatantly rude, to reply to someone without even reading the email. She's the same councillor I've chased for over a year and a quarter now to ask about what's going on with the disabled parking on this estate. And every time I've asked her, I've had to remind her the whole story. Oh yes, she goes. Just remind me what's going on with disabled parking? So, useless. Maybe I'm not rich enough or posh enough for these people. But it doesn't say in my tenancy agreement that I will only get notice of service if I speak with an upper class accent or I take in more than £45,000 a year. Doesn't say on my tenancy agreement poor unemployed sick people are not going to be respected. Doesn't say that. So if it did, I wouldn't have been complaining. If it was a fair system and I was told in writing that, oh, Mr. Gibbons, we're ignoring you because, well, we don't like you. Put it in writing. Put your money where your mouth is. You can't just ignore people. You can't mark me up as vexatious, for instance, and not actually send me the letter by recorded delivery so you've got a record of it. You can't just write a letter and put it on the system and say, oh, well, it must have been lost in the post. No, you have to prove that it has been delivered. And if you mark me up as vexatious and if you send me a letter, you have to justify why. Bearing in mind I've got Asperger's, which is a form of autism, and unless I understand something, I will ask questions. You really better justify yourself. Because under the Equalities Act, you can't just mark me section 14 vexatious. I'm not a troublemaker. I'm one of the better tenants you have, Waltham Forest Council. And all you want to do is support the people that attack me. You are therefore abusing me and assaulting me under the Mental Health Act and the Equalities Act. And also under the Human Rights Act. Now, I've been in prison for 12 weeks, you're infringing my human rights. But you only get away with it because I'm too poor to instruct a solicitor. Or so you think. I'm looking at you, Martin Eason. I sent you direct email yesterday. You didn't respond to it. Your section didn't even respond to it. I didn't even get your out of office this time. And you're not due back until the 26th of May. So why didn't I get an automatic response from your section? Have you put me on a block list? Am I being filtered so I don't get the message back because you put me into spam? All this has to be answered. The more you ignore me, the more questions I ask. I need an explanation for everyone's reaction. The lack of response from housing, Junad, Derek, the lack of courtesy and respect, Martin, passing my email for a meeting to complaints when I asked you not to. You have to explain that. You can't just action something and not have an explanation for it. If it says, please don't pass this to complaints, and you do, you have to explain why. Not, oh, he's a minor person. He doesn't really exist. He can't afford a solicitor. We'll just do what we want. I'm not putting up with this anymore. I will, if nothing gets done, get sick because I'm getting a bathroom full of waste, including used cat litter, and it stinks like hell. When the bathroom overflows, I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably start filling up the kitchen again, which is not going to be healthful. Alas, this ain't even going out in real time. This is going out like 7 weeks later than I'm recording it. I'm only releasing 2 videos a week, and I've already got up until the end of June, I think, or July. No, this might be going out mid-July, I think. I've lost track of them all now. There's so many up there that haven't been released yet, but they're scheduled for publication. So I've got no phone calls because there's no phone. The only other friend I had, outside of Mary, I fucked off last night because she called me and she was watching TV at the same time, and I asked her to turn it off, and she said, I'll call you back later. And she didn't. She just got grumpy with me and said she don't want to argue with me. Well, no, people don't want to argue with me because they normally know they're wrong. That's why they always say they don't want to argue with me. I'm always up for a challenge. If I'm wrong, you tell me why I'm wrong. Don't just say I'm wrong. Is it respectful to talk to someone while you're watching the telly? No. Is it respectful to talk to someone while you're looking at the phone? No. Is it respectful to talk to someone while you're on a call? Yes, I've had all this before. No. If you want to talk to someone, you concentrate on talking to that person. Unless you're actually talking to someone about what's on the telly or what you're talking about on the phone and you're including a third person in it. If you're just one-to-one talking with someone, cut everything else off and respect that you're talking to someone. Otherwise, it's a waste of time talking because you're not interested. It's a bit like the mobile call I had at 1:15 yesterday from a mobile number, unknown to me. Untraceable on the internet. Truecaller can't identify it. But it's an O2 number, and as I remember, Waltham Forest Council uses O2 numbers. I called it back, no response. Mary called it back, no response. I left a text message, no response. Who are you? And why did you call? And why didn't you call back? I know why. Because you're probably from Adult Social Services from Waltham Forest or housing from Waltham Forest. And you're just ticking a box saying Mr. Gibbons hung up on me again. When I didn't hang up on anyone, I panicked and pressed the wrong button. I'm not used to getting phone calls, you see. And when I do, it's such a rare treat that I do panic if I've got things to turn off first. Because unlike most people on this planet, if I'm watching TV, I'll try and turn the TV off. And then I'll answer the phone. I won't answer the phone until I can concentrate on the phone call. That's just the way I am. I'm not you. I'm respectful. And if you can't call back, you didn't really want to talk to me in the first place, did you? And when I find out who you are, and I will, and if you are someone that works for the council, you will get a complaint. You will have to explain yourself as well, rather than just ticking boxes because you don't want to do what you're paid for. This is what it comes down to. People in the council are getting away with not doing what they're paid to do. I've got rubbish piling up around the estate now. Chairs, scooters, just being left out. What's the caretaker doing? If it's outside, it should be in a shed or in a flat. Outside is rubbish, should be removed. But they don't want to remove it because, oh, someone's probably just left it there. Yes, someone probably has just left it there. But has anyone got permission to just leave things outside? No. Does anyone rent space outside to leave things in? No. Does anyone own the land other than the council? No. Does the caretaker come round once a day and ignore it? Yes. Do the bulk waste collections come round 3 times a day and ignore it? Yes. It's their responsibility and their job to keep the estate safe and clean. Leaving rubbish around the place And I include chairs and scooters and bikes and prams. Leaving that around the public areas should be removed. It's littering the place up. It's unsightly, which is a breach of their tenancy as well. And the council does nothing. What is the point of a tenancy agreement or a housing department to enforce the tenancy agreement if they don't? You might as well just say, well, pay us so much a week and we won't put any restrictions on you. You can do what you want. Gun running, drug running, anything you want. Knives, guns, drugs, abusing disabled people, park where you like. And we'll just take the money off you and basically we're living off immoral earnings. Because that's what the council's doing. If they're not actively working against crime on the estates, then they are passively working to condone crime and to live off immoral earnings. You can't have it both ways. You can't condone crime and do nothing to stop it, or to prevent it, or to solve it. Can't have it. If you don't condone crime and you don't actively work to prevent crime, then you are condoning crime, supporting crime, and supporting abuse of disabled persons. You are supporting drugs, you are supporting knives and guns and all sorts of malpractice on this estate, unless you are actively seen to be doing something to stop it. And I mean all the time, not just when people complain. People should not have to complain for you to do what you're paid to do. Derek McLean came round here, I think January, doing an estate inspection. And he mentioned, my housing officer is Derek McLean, by the way, and he mentioned to me when he knocked on my door about the stuff in the stairwell. Is this like this all the time? And he did nothing until I put a complaint in. And then I had to complain 2 or 3 times for anything to happen. And then he wrote a letter. Then they started attacking me, my neighbours. Then he wrote another letter. And then he sent the people down to clean the estate. And they didn't even do that. And I've had no response from the council to say that that team are undergoing disciplinary procedures for gross misconduct, i.e. not carrying out the instructions of a senior officer. That is gross misconduct. Nothing. The council they've got too much power and they're getting away with, almost, I wouldn't say they are getting away with murder, although we don't know. What is happening on this estate? The housing officers don't know. We shouldn't have the police down here all the time doing the council work. The tenants are the housing tenants. The police should be called in by housing. We shouldn't have to call the police in. I don't care you've not got enough housing officers. I realise you haven't got enough housing officers. But, hello Tabs, here comes my little baby. I realise you haven't got enough housing officers, but that's not my fault. I have a contract with you. It's called a tenancy agreement. It's a contract between 2 parties, you and me. I keep my side of the contract. You have to keep your side. There's no point threatening me and treating me like a troublemaker when Waltham Forest Council are not upholding their side of the contract. Thankfully, I don't need many repairs, but I'm afraid to get people to come in and repair. Hold on. My coffee's gone. Because it's a mixed bag. Normally the repairs are quite good, but the bloke that came in to when I moved in here, the previous tenant had taken the light fitting in the living room. When the bloke came here, after me complaining about the light fitting not being there, and I had to raise it as a complaint because I was a home exchange and I wasn't allowed to get repairs for 6 months. Well, that would be fine and dandy if Waltham Forest would have given me the inspection sheet, like I asked, like they're supposed to do when people move out, they're supposed to have a house inspection. They refused to give me an inspection sheet, so I couldn't find out who inspected the property and classed the property as fine. So I couldn't put complaint in about them. And I don't think they're allowed to refuse me the inspection sheet. They said you have to get that off the previous tenant. I paid £130 to get into the shed because the council wouldn't open the shed because the previous tenant didn't have a key. I've told the council this. No one's even offered to pay me the £130 back because I'm not supposed to be opening your shed. It's your shed. If your tenant's lost the key, you should make them pay for the key. Not make me pay to have the lock broken and replaced. But no one does anything about that. My councillors know about that. My housing officer knows about it. The engagement officer knew about it. Nothing gets done. And the same with the bathroom. The bath kept leaking into the flat below. Must have been an ongoing problem because I wasn't doing anything that was abnormal. And every time I was having a shower, she was ringing the council and repairs were coming. Well, one occasion, the repairs got so fed up of being called out like for the 5th time that they started hacking the bathroom apart. And the case in around the pipework, the first thing they want to do, not take the side of the bath off and have a look, see where the water's come from. Oh no, let's trace the pipework. And they started hacking the casing off. So they left that in a bad condition 2 years ago. No one's come round and done a check on it though. No. It's just like, well, it's a Saturday, I just want to get the job done. Hack, hack, hack. Nice. Thank you. But most of the repair people have been fine. But, you know, standing on my sofa to repair a light fitting, what, too far for anyone to carry a ladder? I'm on the 2nd floor because I wanted nice, quiet life, away from everyone. But all I get is, oh, can you come down and pick that up? Or can I stand on your sofa? I'm fed up. I can't even report myself to, like, health and safety executive. I tried those yesterday. Only workplace. Environmental health, not taking calls. I had an email from TPAS yesterday because I complained to them that I couldn't get anything done by the council. And they said, oh, I've spoken, because I told them that the Ombudsman's shut. And they said, oh, I've spoken to the Ombudsman, they are taking cases. So I sent them a screenshot of the Ombudsman's website from yesterday saying they're not taking new cases. So the Ombudsman is either lying to TPAS or they're just not updating their website so they don't get any new cases. But either way, someone's lying. I don't believe it's TPAS. I trust TPAS. They've done nothing for me not to trust them. But when the Ombudsman says to them that they're taking cases, it's too late for the Ombudsman now anyway. I've got rubbish building up, no one cares. I've got cats getting ill. Merlin has got brown stuff coming out of his eye. He's had stuff coming out of his eye before. He's got a weepy eye and it was clear. Brown today. I've wiped it off his face and I've cleaned the floors and I'll get the steam cleaner out in a moment to finish it all off so it's all nice and sterile. But I will go apeshit if my cats get ill because the council are useless. And it's too far for crisis management now. I keep saying this to everyone for the last few days. It's too late for crisis management. I've had enough of crisis management. I've had enough of people talking about me behind me back and not telling me they're talking about me. That's rude and disrespectful. If you're trying to manage me, you have to talk to me to explain why you're trying to manage me. If housing are using the excuse, oh, he's not a well person, that's why we're not responding to him, you have to prove that the only reason you're not responding to me is because I'm not a well person and I'm not justified in writing to you. You can't just put me down as vexatious or mad or demented. You have to justify it. That's what people don't get. Okay, solicitors are getting involved now. I've finally started finding people that will talk to me. And hopefully by the time you see this, it will all be over. Unfortunately, by the time you see it, it might be over for something more serious. My nerves are on a knife edge. I have no motivation to eat. I've tried self-harming. I can't even do that successfully. And all I've got left now is YouTube and me cats. I have no one to talk to. I've got dating apps and I'm giving up on those as well. I can't find anyone that I can actually talk to. So, apart from Mary, you can all take a running jump. If Mary needs anything, I'll help her. As much as I can, I will help her. And hopefully, when this is all over, I will take her to dinner at Cosmos, I think it is, in Romford. Lovely restaurant. If it reopens, if I get out of here, if I survive, if I don't get some disease off the rubbish piling up in the bathroom. I've told Waltham Forest, Annie and Duncan Smith, and Keir Starmer now this morning via Twitter. And if nothing gets done now, Lord help us. I thought it might be an email or tweet. So there we are. That's gone on for, I think, about 25 minutes now. I won't say goodbye because I'll probably do an update later tonight, just before I go to bed. So I'm going to do jump cuts. It's 6:30, 23rd of May, 2020. Went into a panic again today. This time caused by a ring on the door by the COVID-19 volunteer. Nice that they bring food round, but if it's Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday, don't bring it round on a Saturday because it panics me. Not a lot to update you on. I'm getting a cough now, I think thanks to all the ammonia coming out of the bathroom. Even with the door shut, you can still smell it. I'm still trying to get someone to do something. I tweeted, I think, Waltham Forest and Ian Duncan Smith today, a picture of the bathroom, just in case they haven't read my email. I don't know. I'm going slightly mad. I'm reminiscent of a polar bear I saw in Bristol Zoo when I was a kid, and it had an area no bigger than the size of my flat, and it was just walking backwards and forwards. And that's what I've been doing all day, walking backwards and forwards. I've tried to watch movies and programs, and I just can't concentrate. I don't think anyone's going to be happy until I'm dead. So not so much a hunger strike this time as just a living strike. Because this isn't living. Waiting for someone to offer help on a permanent basis, i.e. the council. They've got to stop treating me like a madman. I really don't know. By the time this goes to publish, because I'm doing 2 a week, this is sometime July, August time this is going out. Like 6 weeks from now. By the time this goes out, will I be in the same situation or will I be dead? That's what I don't know. That's why I'm doing this as a delayed diary. Because I don't want people to do things because they've seen this on YouTube. I want this to go on YouTube in case something happens to me. Then people will know. They can't cover it up forever. Once it's on YouTube, it's there. That's why I'm doing... Oh, excuse me. It's been a tiring day. That's why I'm doing these diary entries, for my memory and for any court action that takes place after my death. Because this can't be allowed to happen again. I'm not the only person this has happened to. But I'm determined I'm going to be the last person it does happen to. Councils have too much power. There's not enough oversight. And the Ombudsman has no power of enforcement. The councils aren't afraid of being taken to the Ombudsman because it doesn't affect their money, their budget, their status. They don't even have to apologise to the Ombudsman. So, Ombudsmen need power at the end of the day. All Ombudsmen. There's no point. I mean, without having someone in charge over the council, who do you take a complaint to? They basically do anything they want unless you've got money to go to a solicitor. And then suddenly they do things. Shouldn't be like that. They should do things anyway, not wait until you get legal action started, because that's a waste of public money in my book, and council should be fined for that. I don't know. So that's my, unless something suddenly happens, that is the end of my entry for today. I did a 25-minute one earlier, I think it was. So, mental health, I would say, is beyond a -4. It's getting to a -5. Not quite there yet. But I do hope everyone's had a good bank holiday weekend. And someone out there has thought of me, sitting here in my ammonia sodden bloody flat, not able to take a bath or a shower because that's where I'm storing my rubbish, not able to go out because the council have allowed my neighbours to threaten and intimidate me, imprisoned falsely for 12 weeks for something I haven't done. I have given up. I really have. I don't know who to turn to now. I've tried my MP, my councillors, the executive of Waltham Forest Council. I've tried Cats Protection, the RSPCA, Health and Safety Executive, the Commissioner for Human Rights, who hasn't called me back after about 4 weeks. I've tried my GP, who hasn't called me back after 2 weeks. I've tried mental health, who didn't call me back on Friday. I've tried all the autism groups that I can find. I've tried solicitors. I've tried Shelter, Mind, National Autistic Society. The list goes on and on and on. Over 12 weeks, I have tried everyone. And yes, you know, if there was a way of doing it, I would have reported the council to the Ombudsman. But as I said to the woman from TPAS that emailed me on Friday and who advised me that she spoke to the Ombudsman and they are taking new cases, I sent her a screenshot of the Ombudsman's website dated May the 21st, but it is the current website, saying they are not taking new cases. So, like I say, the problem is everyone wants to pass the buck. No one goes, oh dear, Mr. Gibbons, oh, that is a pity. It's not something that we do, but let me look into this for you. No one. They leave it to an autistic person to try his best to try and get respect. I deserve a little respect. And in 12 weeks, I've had none. Housing don't care. The police can't do anything. The Ombudsman is shut. I've asked for a freedom of information request to my MP to see what communications is actually done to Waltham Forest Council. I want a copy of all his letters and communications and a copy of their responses. I think I'm entitled to that. I mean, I used to have a go at John Cruddas in Dagenham, but at least whenever he sent a letter, you got a copy of it sent in with a reply. I've not had anything from me and Duncan Smith, anything like that. So despite the fact I keep getting told by Goldie Mitchell, I think the name is, that, you know, he's doing lots and he's sent letters, well, let me see copies of this stuff. Reassure me that you're doing something and not just bullshitting me. So there we are. The cats are healthy still, thankfully. Merlin's eye doesn't seem to be weeping anymore. Maybe I just called it in time and moved all the rubbish into the bathroom in time. I've cleaned and sterilised the floors. I'm going to have to mop them again because they haven't been cleaned in such a long time. It's brought like dirt up in the wood grain finish. So I'm going to have to mop them again. But they're clean anyway. It's just, I think, soap residue more than anything else. And I don't know. Every day is disappointing for me lately. I look out the window thinking I want to go for a walk. I'm on an estate with 400 people in, and not one of them gives me the time of day. I would be better in solitary, in a prison, rather than this hell. I'd been better staying off in Dagenham. At least I knew the people that were going to abuse me then, and the council weren't going to do anything. Now I've got so many reassurances that we'll look after you, Mr. Gibbons. We're a good council. We've had no complaints on Aldrich Way. Really? Oh, who gives a shit? I can't bath or shower. Not that I was anyway. I think it's been about 2.5 weeks since I had a shower, and that's only because I cut my hair. I feel like I look like that downed aircraft pilot in Iraq during the war, where they captured him and showed him on TV. I'm out of my mind. I put the extractor fan on in the bathroom and kitchen, on extract, thinking that might help get rid of the smell of the ammonia. Nope, didn't do a thing, so I've turned it off. It's only cost me money anyway. My poor little mind is going round in circles, thinking, who will listen to me? That, in case you can't hear it, is a dog that I've been told doesn't exist on the estate. Nice. And they want me to sit down and have a chat with this woman from housing that wouldn't answer a straightforward question about dogs on the estate. That's going to be a nice one. I've had enough of it. There's a lot of people that need to explain themselves to me. The chief executive, Michelle Maloney. Start with those two, shall we? And I keep getting told by everyone that knows the council, they won't listen to you. Why? What am I asking that is impossible for them to reply to me on? Don't think I'm asking for much. Do your job and manage your tenants. Don't think that's too much. I've got a contract with the council called a tenancy agreement. It works both ways. Even in the agreement itself, it tells you these are your responsibilities and these are our responsibilities. Are they meeting theirs? No. Can I evict them? No. If I don't meet mine, can they evict me? Yes. So what is the drawback? What is the penalty if the council doesn't fulfil their obligation under the tenancy agreement? No one can answer that one. It's a one-sided contract. Only I have obligations that they have to meet. The council have written obligations, but they don't have to meet it because, hey, who's going to do anything? That's what I mean. There's too much power with the council. The only good thing that's come out this week, really, is to finish off my camera mount and the tripod stand and the microphone adapter and all this. At least I can do diary entries easier and simpler. Okay, they might go on a bit and be in several parts now, and I'll spend more time editing them than actually filming them. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night at 7:15 in the evening on Saturday. Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe. Above all, share. Because I could do with the publicity. This is just driving me mad. I don't feel safe in my own flat. I certainly don't feel safe going out of my flat. And it's nothing that I've done. Everyone that knows me says I'm a good citizen. A good, upright, honest citizen that's, helping the community. Well, you tell that to my neighbours. You tell that to the drug users that attacked me at Christmas when I was dressed up as Santa Claus and the council was nowhere around. It was run by the council. And yet they left me all alone down the other end of the promenade, while all the council officers was right down the other end. I was promised people there with me. I was there on my own. If they want to run a Christmas thing again this year, they better start pulling their finger out and doing it properly. Otherwise, I won't allow it to happen. I will have it shut down on health and safety grounds. No way am I going to allow them to do the same thing to either me or someone else. And all I get back is an email saying, "Oh, I did not realise, Mr. Gibbons, that you felt like that." And yet we went into 2 meetings discussing what was going on. And I only volunteered because they said they was going to put some elves down there with me. That's the only reason I volunteered. I didn't want to do the bloody job. So yes, you could class that as another broken promise. The council's full of them. Anyway, go on then. 6:15 Saturday. I'll probably speak to you either tomorrow or Monday. Although bank holiday Monday, there won't be much to write home about on that either. So it will be Tuesday before anything happens. So I've got the whole weekend breathing in ammonia, basically, which I've read up is not good for your lungs. So maybe I can claim some compensation as well. Or are the council going to say they're not aware of the situation that I'm living like, despite emailing a picture of my bathroom to them? Cardboard boxes, bin bags, cat litter, all in the bathroom. And because I can't get out to the supermarkets, I'm having to buy an awful lot from Amazon, which comes in big boxes. Because you have to bulk buy stuff from Amazon. And to rub salt into the wound. Oh, get this, to rub salt into the wound. The food parcel thing I had delivered today came with a shopping list from Morrison's for vulnerable people. Do you really think I'm going to ever shop at Morrison's again? After they threw me out on Bank Holiday Monday and haven't even taken my complaint in about their manager? Do you really think I want anything from Morrison's in the future? I mean, it looks like most of my food in this COVID-19 thing is coming from Morrison's. I don't want anything to do with them. If all they can do is get free food from Morrison's, I'd rather starve. I mean, considering I throw so much of their food away anyway, and it's not exactly the food I would pick. And I'm not going to be classed as a beggar, hence you can't be a chooser, as they say. So, I don't know. Go on. I'll speak to you shortly. Have a good evening. Bye.